glass object which was casted, like it's solid glass, and I was more interested in what happened when you use not like a parallel cylinder, when it's more like shorter on the lower part and wider on the upper part, because then you don't have the same kind of vibration going on. So you have a different kind of structure, harmonic structure going through this material. And it's always like working with glass is very expensive as an individual, because you have to cast it first, make the forms, and that's actually the smallest form, the smallest kind of object I use. Most of them are much more longer, but I just use this one for transportation reason. And then somehow you have to drill a hole through the glass, and this only can be done with a water jet cutting machine. So it's not as an individual artist. It's when you don't have access to this equipment, it's not a very, it could be quite expensive. But I had a project, and I knew if this would be a part of the budget. So here, when I'm let's see. Here it is. So it's just like out of there's a solenoid back here, and this solenoid is just like a coil, a copper coil, and there's a plunger in there. And when you energize this copper coil, the plunger is shooting out. Like right now, so, and then it's just like a return spring, so it just like goes back. So the problem was, like, when you want to tune them, you have to cast quite a lot, because it's unpredictable. Even you can calculate the size somehow, but when it's a little bit thinner here or more heavier here, then the pitch is completely different. So it's very, very tricky to predict what kind of pitch this one has already. But then also, like, you can always use a diamond saw to cut a little bit off, but then your nodal point also is changing. So it's very tricky to tune them. But this was, I had like 48 of this glass cylinders, and then they was all like, I can also play very soft. Let's see, but it has to be like, it's also dynamic control. When I press a little bit with the key, it's shooting out slower than when I press hard. So it's just like a very simple mechanism using a magnetic field to hit the object. And then, of course, it was suspended. There was 48 in different positions, but all together. And then it was commissioned by a fancy house. And they, of course, was more interested to have like a gadget. So when I can also use this kind of interaction, because I have a router here, and this is my MIDI sequencer, and all the sequences are in here. And when I tell play, then it would actually play from an iPhone or any kind of gadgets like this. But again, like, same is like when you have other kind of like a rotary solenoid, which are just like so it's just like a very, it's a commercial available mechanism, solenoid, rotary solenoid, and you just add this kind of mallet mechanism on there, and so you can use it for percussion instruments, or in this case they are actually plastic, what are they called, castanets, and so it's just like the way how you when you use a sequenced piece from the computer, you can tell exactly the dynamic level that you can play very soft. It's hard to do it with a keyboard because you never know what kind of velocity you are sending. But they are all kind of controlled by velocity, and then similar like when you just have like a drum or any kind of percussion instrument, then like you can bang on. So that's kind of what I always use, but then it's also sometimes you don't want to add a lot of noise, physical noise. So everything is kind of flexible because then it gives like your hand would give. When everything is kind of bolted to a structure, and then it resonates different. So everything has to be kind of engineered so it's more flexible, and that's all you learn by just listen to it and learn how to make it more quiet. I guess I just turned on this guy here. That's kind of a pedal controller for a piano sustain pedal, so you can go to any kind of position on the pedal. You can stop, and you can go to a certain position where you can stay for a while, because then you're maybe just above the string slightly, so you can have another timbre while you're playing with a piano, with a piano adapter. So that's, again, everything is controlled by punching a key. And that was my only understanding when I'm writing a program to activate all these different instruments. I'm thinking more in musical terms. Like for me, it's much more easier to write a musical score to get this sequence together, what I want to do with the movements. So it's basically just like the MIDI signal goes into a box like this, and this box has a small kind of microprocessor in there, like an Arduino, which is known by some students. And I use this system since quite some time, and it turned out when Arduino came out, I used actually the same microprocessor, so it's quite simple to get any kind of support from this huge group of users. So that's the other instrument here, like what you see with the guitars. That's how you plug. And you can also go slow, or faster. So you can. It's actually accelerating when it's plucking the string, and then it's also possible to have certain kind of height. And with the other controller number, you can have a softer pick, so it just turns 90 degrees, and then you plug with a softer mallet. So this was just used for all the guitars to plug the string, and this kind of mechanism was just used to fret. I wouldn't use this extension, so they was just like used to fret the string to get the strings down, and that's only done just using solenoids to do the whole installation. And lately, like these pictures